Hi, I'm Kathy at the Denham Springs Walker Branch Library, and I want to talk to you today about string art. When I was young, my sister showed me how to do something. She called it curve stitching, and we did it on a paper plate with needle and thread. And we went round and round and round, and we made designs that way, and it was a lot of fun. So this is based on that same theory. The first one I did was this leaf, and I'm going to show you. This is just a piece of cardboard. I took a piece of cardboard, and I took a thumbtack, and I poked holes in it. I made my design. I sketched out my design, and I poked holes with the thumbtack, so I'd have the holes pre-cut. And then I went around with the needle and thread. I mapped out my design, and I used colored thread to make the leaf. And I enjoyed the way it came out, but I'm going to do a different type of string art for my presentation today, but I want you to feel free to try something like this at home. The thing I would warn you about is that when I got to the holes where I had a lot of threads coming out, like some of these holes have 10 or 12 threads in them, you really have to push the needle hard. And so I would say make your holes a little bit bigger in those places where you're going to have a lot of threads in the center line there. But it was a lot of fun to do. It just took a little bit longer than I expected because I had to work with the thread. But I just used a piece of cardboard, and I did my design and chose my thread. So that was one type of string art that you feel free to play with that and make your own designs and have fun with it. But then I decided for the demo, I wanted to play with the ones where you put nails in a board. Now I'm hoping that you have a board at home. Oh, that's another reason. If you don't have a board, you might want to try the cardboard. But if you have a board, the nails that I used were these little bitty, this particular one is 18 gauge, 3/4 inch long. You don't want them to be very big because you're going to put a lot of them in, and you want them to be pretty easy to hammer. And I did these two for my samples, and then the one I'm going to do today, I'm going to finish it off and show you how easy it is. Now this one, I don't know if you remember, if you saw the last video I did with book art. The book page art, this was one of the designs that I came up with, and I decided to give this cat another life and put it into the string art. So what I did for that one was I made a copy. I took this on the copy machine, I made a copy, and then I enlarged it because I wanted it a little bit bigger. So then I cut the cat out, and now you could just sketch on the board when you come up with the design you want to use, but what you have to guard against there is sometimes when you're sketching, you tend to go back and forth and you put down a lot more pencil marks than you need. And in erasing that, you might leave a mark on your board that you really don't want to be there. So that's why I like to make an image and then trace it on the board very lightly. And that way I know where to put my nails. So that's how I got that design with the cat. I cut out the cat after I copied it. I laid it on the board and I traced it. I did the same thing. Now this heart, this is what we call negative space, where you do everything except the heart. I cut out a heart, and I laid it down and traced around it after I painted my board red. I put the heart down, and I traced around it, and I put the nails all around the heart. I also put the nails, now here's where you might want to use a ruler to put a little line down, so you have a nice straight line around there, and I made the line around it, and I did everything except the heart. So that came out with a really neat technique. And so now I'm going to do a pumpkin for the Halloween and Thanksgiving time. So I painted this board yellow. I started with the nails. I wanted to just show you how easy it is to put the nails in. I didn't actually measure them. If you're a real precise kind of person, you might want to put them about a 1/2 inch apart. But I found that my finger, when I put my finger in the way, I got about a 1/2 inch distance. So when I'm holding the nail, got my trusty hammer here. I'm going to stand up for this part. Maybe I can do it down here. Okay. Put the nail, I line up, and now I have a very faint pencil mark here from where I traced. Oh, here's my yellow paint that I used. I didn't get anything fancy. I just got the cheap craft paint, the acrylic craft paint to paint the board. And I cut my pumpkin shape out, and I laid it down and traced it. I already did the stem. I had a little stem traced out there. And so for I just put the nail on the line, and then the space that my finger takes up is just about enough to call it a 1/2 inch. And when you're hammering, after you get the first one down, your hammer stops when it hits the height of the second one. So it's real easy. You don't have to worry about the uniformity of the nail height because it's going to stop at the same place that the last one stopped. So let's do a couple more of these. Watch that microphone. Try to get them standing straight up if you can, but if they're a little wobbly, if they're in different directions, that's not going to show at all once you get all the yarn or the string on it. You're not going to notice what direction your nails are standing. So here's my last one. I'm going to put it evenly between those two. All right, that's enough hammering. Just to let you know, that's how you put the nails in. So now I've got nails going all around the shape of my pumpkin. Now I'm going to take some orange yarn and I'm going to make a little loop knot at the end of it to get started. Just going to tie it in a little knot that makes a loop on the end, and I'm going to pull it real tight. Oops, ooh, that was too tight. I don't know my own strength. I tore the yarn. All right, we're going to make a little loop in the yarn. There you go. Now you've got a knot with a loop in one end. And I'm going to loop it around. And you know, in this case, in this particular art, it's pretty hard to go wrong. It's pretty hard to mess up because you can start just about anywhere, because what you're going to do is just go back and forth. Now, I found it helps to loop around. Instead of just going around in one direction, I make it so that I'm looping back on myself. It helps to hold it steady, make it a little more sturdy. And I start by just going around and around from one nail to the next. I'm not trying to be too geometric here because it's a random art. It's random the way that you're going to start noticing, oh look, I've got a space here I need to cover. I think I'd like to go back and forth in this direction. And I need to go over here. Oh, now here's another. When you let go, when it slips off, you're liable to go backward a little bit. So you want to try and, it helps if you put your finger on the nail that you just did, which I wasn't doing. That was my bad. If you have your finger, see, I had my finger on the nail. I didn't undo as many times because let me tell you, it will undo a couple of times whenever it slips off. All the way up here for this one, and then down here we need some vertical lines on this pumpkin now. Okay, I see a space that needs filling, and as you start to get it filled in, you're going to see, oh, there's a spot here that needs filling, and that's going to help direct you as to which direction, as to which nail to go to next. And if you see an empty nail that needs a little coverage there, you can go to that one next. Here's one over here. Oh, look, this side needs some stuff over here. So I think we're going to go in this direction for a while. And you can, like I said, you can move up and down. And then, like I said, if you feel like you need some more vertical lines and you got enough horizontal lines, then work in that area for a while. Oh, here we go. We need to go. I see a space that needs covering. And I tell you, one thing that's going to pull it all together is when you outline it at the end. You can see I put an outline around the green one already. You might notice it on the others. I went around and did an outline. So when you think you've got enough coverage for your pumpkin to look good, we'll do a few more lines here. We want a little bit more in this area over here. About right that one. Okay. All right, now I'm going to direct it back up to the top here, and I'm going to start doing the outline, and I'm going to show you how I do the well, let's see, let's go back. I see a spot that when I turned it at a different angle, I can see other areas that need a little more coverage. Here we go. All right, we'll go from this side. I'm going to go up to this nail right here, the first one. And have you ever heard the saying, 1 step forward, 2 steps back? Well, this is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. To make the outline, I go forward 2 nails and backward 1. Well, let's see. For the very first one, I'm going to go ahead and loop it around it twice. But after going forward, I'm going to go forward. I'm going to move my finger in a second. I'm going to go forward by 2 nails and backward by 1. 2 and then back by 1. And that's going to make it look more like a pumpkin instead of a prickly pear. And this part goes pretty quickly once you get in the groove and you're holding your thread down right. Getting there, going around. All right, you can see the difference with the outline. It helps to make it look more smooth. Halfway there. And of course, when you're doing this at home, the point is not to go fast. The point is to go carefully and get the effect that you want. Almost to the top. All right, just a few more now. Almost there. Last one. That's the one we were looking for, as my daddy would say. There's your pumpkin. Now you want to tie it off. So I'm going to show you how you loop you hold this tight now. You don't want to let go of it or it's going to go blah, blah, blah. So you want to loop this thread underneath some thread that's already there. Let's see if we can just loop it under this one right here. This is about the only tricky part. You saw how easy the rest of it was. When you get there it comes. Okay, so you got a loop here. You loop your thread, holding the last one tight now. Don't forget to hold that tight. You're going to put this loop through there and pull it tight. That's the only hard part. The worst part's over. Now you got a great big loop and you want to turn it into a little loop. So you pull this thread and you push this through the other loop. Tie it tight. Now you can cut it off. Give it a little bit of play there. You're going to pull out the excess. That one we're done with. Okay, all done with that. Now, the only thing I would recommend, you're all but done. Before you consider it done, before you cut that yarn close, you want to put just a little dot of glue. I put a little glue out. I use a toothpick. Get some glue on the end of the toothpick, and I put glue right at the base of the knot, and that's going to keep it from coming untied. You glue in that knot, and if you don't have any glue, I have been known to use nail polish. Just a little bit of clear nail polish will do the same thing. It's going to lock that knot in place. And so you don't want to cut the tail of this off too short until that glue dries. When the glue dries, you can cut it right off next to the knot, and it's going to stay in place. For now, we're going to tuck it underneath there so it's not showing. And that is your pumpkin. That is your string art that you made yourself with a few nails and some yarn. It's a lot of fun. It goes pretty quickly, and be sure you have some help. Ask if you're a youngster, ask before you start using the hammer and the nails. Get some adult to help supervise that. So that's our string art, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday. So be safe, be happy, and keep reading.